Hello, my name is Lewis and welcome to Gathering the Magic. Today we're looking at old school Kamigawa cards to invest in before Neon Dynasty arrives. With every new set released, waves of old cards can see a huge spike in price due to the potential that they could sync with other cards in non-standard formats, with Isao in Light and Bushi being a great example of this. This is a card that has been a $1 staple card for years, but spiking heavily since Christmas with all of the potential samurais to come in Neon Dynasty. Now, let's get straight into looking at those other cards worth investing in. First on up, we're looking at Honden of Seeing Winds. This shrine says at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card for each shrine you control. Released in Champions of Kamigawa, this was part of a cycle of 5 Honden cards. One for each colour in MTG, with each of these legendary enchantments granting their owner something based on the number of shrines they control. Why invest in this card? Well, as shrines were part of the original Kamigawa set, that leaves a good chance that more new shrines are printed in Neon Dynasty, meaning the price for this card in a commander or other based set could rise. Now, we could have gone for any of those Honden cards, but with card draw being such an important element within formats like EDH, we've gone for this as it just adds that little bit more. This card, as well as the other Hondens, have only had one reprint too, in Eternal Masters, and with no future reprint in sight for this card, it may well just be a card worth investing in. Before we get on to the next Kami card, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. It's completely free to do, and it helps the channel grow and grow as we head towards 2,000 subscribers. For the next potentially investable card, we're looking at Tide of War. Another card from Champions of Kamigawa. This enchantment says whenever one or more creatures blocks, flip a coin. If you win the flip, the defending player sacks all blocking creatures. Otherwise, the attacking player sacrifices the blocked creatures. Let's start off with all of those incentivizing positives. This card has never been reprinted. It's one of a kind, solely belonging to this set. We've not only had coin flip be very present in recent sets like Modern Horizons 2, but you've also got the very first Secret Lair commander set, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. This commander set entirely revolves around the coin flip mechanic, and if you're looking for some upgrades to this deck, or just more card flipping action, then this could very well be a card worth investing in. Finally, looking at its pricing within the last year, it has very slowly been on the increase, going from a $1 to $2 card. So clearly the interest for this card is there. Maybe it's time to grab some copies for yourself. Next up, moving on to a Betrayers of Kamigawa card, we have Walker of the Secret Ways. This ninjutsu loving creature says whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at that player's hand. And for those Yuriko lovers, it has pay 1 and a blue to return target ninja you control to its owner's hand, during your turn only. Now this, like Isao, is another card that has had a small spike post Kamigawa Neon Dynasty announcement. Looking again at those positives, this is a card that hasn't had a reprint since Plane Chase Anthology back in 2016. And as we briefly talked on too, it's such a key cog in any Yuriko commander deck, with that ability to get those ninjas back into your hand to ninjutsu in again and again. And when you see that Neon Dynasty is going to be a ninja heavy set as already seen with Satoru Umezawa, then the interest and value in older, less reprinted cards will go up and up. Ninjas are one of the most popular tribes in Magic, with Yuriko often being near the top of those most popular commander lists. Whilst this is one of the priciest cards on this list, hitting the near $5 range, with ninjas looking to be a key piece in Neon Dynasty, this card could be worth heavily investing in should it start creeping towards that $10 range. Taking a trip back to Champions of Kamigawa, we have Shisato, Whispering Hunter. This legendary snake warrior says at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a snake, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player skips their next untapped step. Why Shisato? Because this is also on that helpful list of cards that have never been reprinted. It also fits into another ever-growing tribe in popularity, which is snakes. This is a tribe with now nearly 100 different cards, highly popular in green too. This is Shisato's colour, and snakes are still being printed with newer sets, with Lonis Cryptozoologist being one of the latest ones introduced into the world of MTG. When you consider that the original Kamigawa block printed a total of 22 snakes, then there is absolutely a possibility that Neon Dynasty could be crammed full of those snakes, upping its interest in not only them, but interest in Shisato either as a fun EDH commander or even a card within the 99 for that snake tribal. and for a card that's sitting well below $1, I'd say it's definitely worth the risk when it comes to getting in a few copies of this card. And speaking of grabbing a few copies of cards, just a quick note to say that if you are buying cards and want to help support the channel, then sign up to cardmarket.com and use our affiliate link appearing on the screen now. They're not only one of the biggest and most trusted ways to buy cards, but as we said, it really helps support this channel, which you love to see. Sticking with popular tribes, we have Kodama of the South Tree. From Champions of Kamigawa, this legendary spirit says whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. And yes, you bet we love it because it's had 0 reprints. Now there have been many Kodamas over the years, even in very recent sets, but there has only been one South Tree. And if you're looking for a potentially fun and different commander, you've not only got a spirit tribal lover, but one that works similar to cards like Overrun, which is very, very cool. With some interesting art and a card that could slot very nicely into Spirit Tribal, this is a card that again, for less than $1, could very easily become a viable market grower with the likely many spirits set to appear in Neon Dynasty. So this card could have a small boost in value. Looking at those lands now, we have Untaidake, the Cloud Keeper. From Champions of Kamigawa, it says you can pay 2 and tap to add 2 colourless to your mana pool, spending this mana to play legendary spells. As is the theme here, this card has never been reprinted, so we've got that higher chance of card growth value. In certain formats, it does have untapped potential too, such as Commander. Having that slight bit of ramp to get out those commanders, recast them, or even just play random legendaries to get that winning advantage. You never know, it could one day become the next Ancient Tomb. Good one. A great card that's floating around the $2.50 range may just end up being a very good investment. For the penultimate card here, we're looking at Budoka Gardener. This card allows you to tap it to put a land from your hand into play. If you have 10 or more lands, it becomes Dokai, Weaver of Life, that you can pay, tap, and create huge elementals. A mechanic introduced to Kamigawa, flip cards were aplenty, with this being one of the 5 rare card flip creatures. Now this card, just like many others that allow you to tap and put a card from your hand onto the field, are so essential in those landfall loving commanders. And with only one reprint in the Commander 18 set, which was a limited print run, still means there's less copies out there, so as time goes on, its value may rise. And who knows, a return to Kamigawa may see a return to that card flip mechanic. Now we're finishing up this list with Kami of False Hope. Released in Betrayers of Kamigawa, this 1-drop white creature says sacrifice it and prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. This set introduced 5 1-drop spirits, one of every colour, that could be sacked for a different ability, with this one being similar to the beloved Spore Frog or several others seen in MTG. With this being a spirit and it having such good protection, it always has a home in the 99 of those commander decks, which is why it holds more value than similar but different cards. Another card that's seen a slow but steady rise in recent months. Now may be the time to grab a few copies before Neon Dynasty hits the shelf and we have spirits galore. There we have it, that is the video. Thanks for watching and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. Check out our link tree in the description below for all of our social media and affiliate links. For now though, I am all tapped out, so I'll see you in the next video.